What's going on, everyone? Welcome into a mailbag edition of Falcons Today. This was filmed during our live show, which aired this past Thursday afternoon. So tune in Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern to have your question answered. But our first one comes in from Jackson Cobb. Thoughts on trading for Khalil Mack? I think the Chargers are hitting a slight reset button with some of their older veteran players that have big cap hits, like Khalil Mack, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. And I could see the Chargers with a new GM and a new head coach that did not trade for Khalil Mack shopping the former NFL Defensive Player of the Year. His trade value could not be higher for the Chargers. He comes off a 17-sack season, very healthy the last 2 years. That's probably what's most important. Like, sure, the production's good, don't get me wrong. But remember, the last 2 years in Chicago, like last year in Chicago specifically, a foot injury caused him to miss most of the year. And then he puts together back-to-back perfect attendance seasons from 2022 to 2023. So I don't think teams will have too much concern about how much gas he has left in the tank. And I would definitely be interested in trading for Khalil Mack. Now, it cost the Chargers a second-rounder to get him. I don't think the Falcons would have to pay a second-rounder. I think it might be a third, could even be a pair of fourths or a pair of fives, like 2 day 3 picks. And if that's all it costs, sign me up. Like, get Khalil Mack to Atlanta if it's not going to cost you that much. So let me know. Would you trade for Khalil Mack? I'm in. I'm not going to trade away a second rounder for Khalil Mack, but I would trade away a third. Like, you're not going to find a third-round pick that's going to have that big of an impact. Look at Zach Harrison, third-round edge rusher last year. Showed some good flashes towards the end of the year. But if Atlanta's serious about maximizing their kind of, not win-now window, but getting back on a winning path, Khalil Mack's going to help a whole lot more in 2024 than any third-round pick would. Established TV, next one up. Fields or Daniels, Cousins should be nowhere near Atlanta. Atlanta was more exciting when it had a dual-threat quarterback. We have to bring it back. I'm going to push back on the dual-threat part because I never thought Matt Ryan was much of a dual-threat quarterback, and he was pretty darn good for the Falcons. But, yeah, Justin Fields or Jayden Daniels, those are my top 2 guys. If you can get Jayden Daniels at number 8, perfect. Unlikely in my eyes, but perfect. And it's a gamble waiting until the draft to see if he falls to you, which is why I believe the Falcons are going to trade for Justin Fields. Atlanta Dog, what do you think about taking a chance on Jordan Travis in a later round? Jordan Travis, Joe Milton, Michael Pratt, any of these quarterbacks, I'm all for using day 3 picks on a QB at some point. It is so hard to find a good quarterback in the NFL. Every single year, a third, if not half the teams, almost it feels like, are searching or beginning the process of searching for a new quarterback. So if you can find one of these golden tickets like a Brock Purdy, a Tom Brady, it's worth a day 3 pick every single year in the draft in my eyes. I'm in, dude. Reggie Lopez, in my opinion, the ideal scenario. Trade for Fields, draft an edge rusher, hopefully that guy Dallas Turner from Alabama, sign Calvin Ridley back to help with the receiver core, and boom, NFC South is ours for the taking. Let me break it down bit by bit here. Trade for Fields. I'm in. Draft an edge rusher, hopefully Dallas Turner. I'm not as high on Dallas Turner as other people are. The big reason being is he was opposite of Will Anderson for a good stretch there in Tuscaloosa. So up until this past season, we only got 1 year of Dallas Turner truly being the number 1 edge rusher on that team. And he was good, but he was so far away from what we saw to Will Anderson. I kind of wonder if he's just going where he is because he was the premier Alabama edge rusher. And so obviously there's going to be more eyeballs and attention on him. As for the Calvin Ridley part, I don't think the Falcons would have much interest in bringing him back. Now, if the Jaguars extend him before free agency starts, Atlanta gets a second-round pick out of that trade. If they sign him after free agency starts, it's a third. That's very important. That March 13th date is a huge difference maker. So I think Calvin Ridley will be somewhere but Atlanta. I don't think Arthur Blank is going to approve or sign off on a Calvin Ridley signing. All right, we have more questions to get to on today's video, but first I want to tell you guys about the awesome deal still going on at Fanatics, which is this Falcons t-shirt and hat combination. You're not getting just one. You're getting a twofer on sale. They're basically paying you. I probably shouldn't legally say that, but you get the gist. Get the Falcons t-shirt hat combination when you go to chatsports.com/ATL combo. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. So if you want to replenish your Falcons wardrobe, don't just get one item, but get 2 items on sale when you use our link. Jeremy, if we trade for Justin Fields, who do you want us to take at number 8? Jeremy, that is an excellent question. If the Falcons trade for Justin Fields, Malik Nabers or Rome Odunze, I think they are both incredibly talented and special wide receivers. And what I don't want to see happen is Justin Fields gets to Atlanta and he's got Drake London and then receivers in the same tier of the Matt Collins, the Van Joseph, and the Scotty Millers of the world. And we don't get a fair shake or get a great idea of what we really have in Justin Fields. Invest in him. And if it doesn't work out with Justin Fields, man, the next quarterback's going to have one hell of a receiver room waiting for him with Drake London and Malik Nabers or Rome Odunze. If both those receivers are gone, I really like Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. I know corner's not a huge need, but I like Terrion Arnold more than the other edge rushers in this draft class. Brody Brown, next one up. Should we sign Marquise Brown in free agency? I'm not the biggest Marquise Brown guy. I do think he made a big improvement in his career and his just overall repertoire, if you will, in Arizona compared to what we saw with him in Baltimore with Lamar. I bet the Cardinals are going to try really hard to bring him back. They could have traded him, but they didn't. I think they view him as a building block piece. So my guess is the Cardinals are going to give him a nice offer, and unless Atlanta really breaks the bank for him, he's probably going to go back to Arizona. And if he is with Atlanta, then that means they likely made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and I don't think he's that type of receiver. So I'm not putting Marquise Brown very high on my free agent targets list. Atlanta Dog 88. What do you think about taking a chance? Oh, we got this one already. That's right. We'll get the next question on screen in just a moment, but I do like taking a chance on a quarterback at any point. Life of a Ham, Justin Fields, Hollywood Brown, edge rusher, veteran corner in free agency, and Terrion Arnold at number 8. Fill out wide receiver and defense with the rest of the draft. Best way to go about it. I like a lot of this, not so much the Hollywood Brown part. I would probably go a different direction at wide receiver, but there is a possibility that T. Higgins is franchise tagged and he's just not on the market. Michael Pittman re-signs with Indianapolis. Mike Evans, Mike Evans is really good. Really good. Mike Evans is awesome. He's a future Hall of Famer. So every team should have some level of interest in Mike Evans, but yeah, I guess I've actually talked myself into it more and more. Why not pursue Mike Evans? Everyone should pursue Mike Evans. He's a freaking baller. Go veteran edge rusher and corner. I think they're going to make veteran additions at both those spots. So all in all, Life of a Ham, I think this is a pretty accurate prediction for what might be unfolding the next 2 months. Before we get to the rest of the questions on today's show, shout out your college for me in the chat. We're always asking questions about the Falcons, right? I figured it'd be nice to kind of throw a curveball your way. And let me know where you went to school, what your favorite school is, whatever it is. Get in the comment section right now and shout out your college. Robert, who do you think the Falcons will choose in the first round? Who do I think the Falcons will choose in the first round? Last year, I feel like the Bijan Robinson hype and smoke didn't come until the last 3 weeks before the draft. Now, it's tough to say before free agency because that's going to dramatically impact their needs, but I could see Atlanta going Malik Nabers. He's there at 8. That's going to be really tough to pass on in my eyes. So I'm going to go with Malik Nabers for now. Let's see how good or bad this ages in the next 2 months or so. Marlon, ATL will be on fire in a few weeks when Justin Fields comes to town. Justin Fields will be traded to the Atlanta Falcons on March 12th. Book it. Dadon, what if we traded Kyle Pitts for a high mid to second rounder and a third rounder and are able to get Fields, Turner, Brock Bowers, and a good corner and receiver in those rounds received? I think this is a good or decent idea. I don't know if you're going to get that great of a haul for Kyle Pitts, right? 3 years in, he's got 1 season above 1,000 yards. I know he was a 4th overall pick, but if you look at what his production has been and exclude the part that he was the 4th overall pick in the draft, I don't think any team is rushing to the table to give you a mid to second rounder and a third rounder. I think you might be able to trade Kyle Pitts for like a third-round pick, and that might be it. So I could be way off base, but I don't think you're getting as much as you think you are for Kyle Pitts. Now, if you are able to trade him for a third-round pick, like I love Brock Bowers, and I wish I could talk about Brock Bowers more on this channel, but I just don't think it's very likely because Kyle Pitts is there. But if they were to trade Kyle Pitts, that would definitely open up Bowers at number 8, and you could satisfy other needs in day 2 of the draft. So I'm not opposed to this idea. I just wouldn't have your sights so high on getting a second and a third for Kyle Pitts. Procter Gamble, yes to Fields, to Daniels, and maybe. But if they are gone, J.J. McCarthy's a QB sleeper, and I'm a Dogs fan. Justin Fields, number 1. Jayden Daniels at 8 is number 1. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to be there. So then you have Justin Fields. And I'm okay with using a second or third rounder on J.J. McCarthy. Very curious to see where he ultimately ends up going. I have this gut feeling he's not going to go round 1 like everyone's saying he will. That will do it for us on our mailbag today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's always a blast taking questions from you guys during our live show. So remember, if you have a question at all, tune in next Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, to be a part of this live mailbag.